we got a big issue still with my committee, we have planters. You need to have 8-foot clearance from the center of the tree over, and your planters are making the sidewalks too small. And it's not just you, it's everyone,
Right.
and it's becoming a big issue.
Well, what is it, Community Affairs has come by and measured from the planters to the street, and there is more than 50%.
I'll come in if you want me to.
Yeah.
I'll show you. It's not 50%, 8 foot from the center of the tree to your wall.
Yeah, no, you're welcome. We'll.
You have planters and everything. I've been there, I measured, I go around measuring everything.
Okay.
We have to clean it up just so the elderly and people with carry. I'm not asking for that, I'm just saying, because when you get a crowd out there, they stand and next thing.
No problem. I know there is a little bit space, so we could probably pull them in a little bit, and we're,
That's all I'm asking.
absolutely, definitely come by and we can, we'll make it work.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Melissa, you're not the only one. Next speaker is Jimmy Gilmore.
What's the second vice chair?
Hello, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I know 3 minutes is not a lot of time unless you're in a boxing ring. But now I thought that this meeting was going to be about the Made in Puerto Rico Cafe on East Tremont Avenue, that they're putting in for a license for a sidewalk cafe and chairs. All I know is the residents, I'm a resident of 2920 Haskins Street, and that's almost for 62 years. And I have never seen anything like this in my life, what goes on. From the clientele that comes out of this place, between 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. It's outrageous. The fighting, the yelling, the screaming, the boyfriends beating up their girlfriends. The next day when the garbage is there, condoms on the street, discarded plastic cups, bottles of empty bottles of liquor and beer. And there's a lot of children that live on the street now. A lot of little kids that really shouldn't have to see this. The glassine drug bags. In the middle of the day, their bus boys and their waiters come out of that establishment, come around the corner, smoke marijuana under trees, around a garage, on the sidewalk. Something's got to be done. The parking is outrageous. I always thought it's still against the law to park in front of a fire hydrant, in front of a bus stop, or on a sidewalk. And this goes on every weekend at this establishment. We need the community leaders, the politicians, to do something about this. If you on Community Board 10 remember about the Pompey Cafe a couple of years ago, the trouble in that area by La Salle Avenue and Coddington Avenue on Tremont Avenue, we are having that same problem up here at that Made in Puerto Rico Cafe. Something has to be done. I'm afraid one night there's going to be gunfire there. That's how bad it's getting. There's been stabbing, there's been bottles, there's been beatings, there's been fights. It's only a matter of time before something serious like that happens. And a stray shot, God forbid, goes through a window and kills a little kid on that street. You know, there's a small little residential street. There's maybe a dozen houses on this street. What's going on there is outrageous. And it's been going on for the last 3 years. So I appeal to everybody here to vote this proposition down. I wish that this was a meeting to have this establishment closed down. That's how bad it is. It's outrageous. And something's got to be done. All right? Thank you very much for your time. I hope there's other people that feel the same way and can speak the same way to get this problem resolved. It is just out of control. Thank you, Mr. Price.
Next is Fabrizi Armand.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Fabrice Armand, and I'm the Director of Strategic Partnership and Community Engagement for the Department of Correction. And part of the reason why I'm here today is just to be able to tell you about some of the opportunities that we currently have at the Department of Correction. I'm currently here with Officer Politis, who is a 5-year veteran of the Department of Correction, and Officer Cotton, who's a 10-year veteran of the Department of Correction. A couple of things that I wanted to bring you to your attention is that the Department of Correction, due to the fact that a lot of our our employees are currently retiring at the tender age of 42 and moving to Florida, we are in need of new correction officers. So starting salaries for correction officers begin at $44,000 without any overtime. And after 5.5 years, it's $94,550. And due to the extra overtime, first-year correctional officers are making close to $100,000 a year because they're forced to do some overtime. So the mayor, within the last year, we've hired about 1,500 correctional officers, and we're planning on hiring 1,200 within the 2017. We actually have a class of 900 that's graduating on Monday, I think. Is it Monday? And one of the things that we've been doing that's different from other agencies is that because of the simple fact that there is a need, we've been moving through the list a lot faster. So individuals, normally when you take a civil service exam, it takes about 4 years for you to even be called. We're moving through the list within 6 months, meaning someone that takes the test and actually passes will be called to the academy right about 6 months. So the other thing that I wanted to actually point out to you as well is that most of the time when individuals think about the Department of Correction, they solely think about the uniform position and they don't think about the non-uniform position. I currently am a non-uniform. I am not a correction officer, but I currently work for the Department of Corrections, and I actually have this sheet right here that has about 25 positions that are currently available that range from psychologists to attorneys to dietitians to staff chaplains and so forth. And a lot of these positions begin starting salary $44,000 and they go up to $220,000 a year. So if you know any individuals that are currently looking for employment, perfect opportunity for them to actually pick up a flyer and actually apply. Part of the reason why this is important as well, you do not need a civil service title for you to actually apply for these positions. A lot of the time for city positions, you need to have a civil service title for you to apply. These are open positions, meaning that any individual that qualifies can actually apply for them. Last and definitely not least, we do a lot of work particularly in different communities from Queens to Brooklyn and so forth. So if you are in need of help and need volunteers for some of your projects, please make sure that you send us an email at theboldest@doc.nyc.gov. I'll repeat that, it's theboldest, THEBOLDEST at doc.nyc.gov. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Next speaker is Gideon Cementelli.
Good evening, all. I want to start off by this good news hearing tonight about TSCA, and I want to thank the TSCA administration and also the Merchant Association for hopefully resolving it. I mean, this is like 4 years later, so we'll see. Meantime, I was hoping that I will be at the end of the list here because we have residents here to speak on MAID in Puerto Rico. We have other members that are very upset about this. And the root of the problem here, I think, lies with our chairman. Our chairman is the problem. And I hope and I encourage every member here, we have an election coming up. We need change on this board. We don't need quiet or private meetings at the discretion of the chairman. We don't need the chairman to be the father figure here. We don't need the chairman to be a shepherd and to shepherd the sheep. So I hope that I urge every board member here to vote and to change this establishment. We have a serious problem here. All these problems with these bars. I mean, I would like to blame the former chairman, but this chairman's been here for 4 years. We've had a serious problem with all these liquor licenses. It appears that this board, and not the whole board, because the majority of the people are great people, good people. They volunteer. They do it for free. I used to be a board member. I volunteered for 12 years. I know what it is. But there's always a few bad apples. A few bad apples that are influencing the process. A few bad apples that push things forward. May it be supportive housing. May it be bars that have a history of problems.
1 minute remaining.
Thank you. We saw it recently. We had bars we have Danco E here, we had Seafood City, I mean, Tosca, now it's Made in Puerto Rico. What's next? What is next here? Who are we to blame? I blame the leadership. I do give some fault to our prior chairman, but I do give our chairman. Our chairman's in charge, and that's it. So I hope we have an election coming up, and I hope we have change. Thank you so much.
You know I'm not going to let that go unanswered. You know that. And the only thing I will say to you is what I've said to the entire community, and we've seen an example of it tonight. The only way we can make progress is by working with the partners that we have in the community. We went and we worked as hard as we can working with the bars. Okay, we work with the processes that we have. We don't have to be loud. We don't have to scream and jump up and down. What we need is effective leadership that zeroes in on the problems. And the only thing you need is to understand when you come here, we always hear you out, regardless of what it is you have to say or who it is you have to say it about. So, the only thing I can tell you is, as a board, we've been working towards serving this community better. We're always open to the community. We reach out to the community. We ask for their input. And we do the best that we can with what is put before us. So, if you feel that I'm the problem with Gideon, I grant you that. But I feel very proud of the work that I've done in the time that I've been here. And I won't stop, even with the type of criticism that you want to give. Because you can't make everybody happy. The only thing you can do is work on what's ahead of you and what is your future. So thank you for the words, whether they were negative or not. And the next speaker is Ms. Deborah Martinez.
Good evening. I don't know where she's going.
You have a microphone, Ms. Martinez.
So good evening. I'm not here for any political reason. I'm here purely because I am a resident Made in Puerto Rico. I've actually never been to a community board meeting before, but this is a real issue in our community. Like I said, everything that the prior speaker, Jimmy, he also lives in our community, everything that he said was no exaggeration. The loudness, I mean, I've had people in front of my house at 3 o'clock in the morning having a fight, and my husband is afraid for me to say anything because that's where I live. And it gets to a point where, like, I can't speak. I pay taxes just like everybody else, and so does everybody on that block. And I understand what you said about working as a partnership with all the businesses, and I hear you. And we can work together, but it's a complete lack of respect. The other day, it was around 3 o'clock in the morning, my husband and I were coming home. There was a woman giving a man a blowjob right in front of one of the neighboring houses. That is disgusting. Okay, that is disgusting, and nobody does anything. I've called the police for the noise complaints. They don't answer, they don't come. I mean, I don't know what's going on. But let me get to quickly, because I know you're a great timekeeper. Let me get to the tables and the chairs. We barely have space to even walk. Like, there's a bus stop there, so what are they gonna do? Like, move the bus stop for people just to accommodate this business? Like, I don't understand what's going on, because it really feels, I feel like it's more about the business instead of the citizens, which are paying taxes too. So it's almost like their rights are superior or more important to ours. And I just beg that the community board really hears what we're saying. I don't even know how, I saw in this notes that already there was a bunch of noise complaints, yet they still set forth this idea? Like, whatever happened to the complaints? Like, wasn't that addressed? So I just hope that you listen to our complaints.
Next speaker, Charles Santiago.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I am a homeowner in the area of Made in Puerto Rico. I live at 2921 Haskins Street. I have 3 small children, 1 daughter in high school, and it's a shame when my daughter has to walk from the bus stop, can't even stop at the local bus stop in the neighborhood, but has to walk to Tremont and Bruckner, walk down Bruckner, come up Edison to come up behind because patrons, members of the staff are smoking marijuana, doing dope in front of the house, having sex, loud noise, fighting, beer bottles. There was a fight in front of my house the other day where one of the patrons wound up throwing a beer bottle through our basement window. It's kind of out of control. It's to a point where I tell my kids, don't go next to the window. Dad, what's that smell? Don't go next to the window, bud. Don't worry about it. Can't play in the backyard because you have people smoking weed in front of my house. I'm a young member. I'm a young resident. And I'm talking to you directly, the owner, because I've been in that bar establishment and I've asked numerous times for you guys to control it. From the parking in our driveway to all the other noise complaints that you have going on. There should be no reason why my kids are woken up by a police officer screaming over the window or over the radio for your patrons to move. There should be no reason why I'm coming out of my house Sunday morning and you're having people smoking weed. We're going to church and you guys are smoking weed in front of my house. It's kind of out of control. Jimmy is 110% right. Not all neighbors see eye to eye on this, but all neighbors are seeing eye to eye on this one specific thing. And if you think that you should have more patrons come in that are more irresponsible than anything, it's out of control. It is definitely out of control. I recommend that they shut this bar down. Pompeii got shut down after somebody took an AK-47 and shot 15 times into a car, then chased them to Bruckner and Brush Avenue and finished the job. What else is going to be happening here? I don't want my kids to be an innocent bystander, a stray bullet coming through the window, a beer bottle being hit by them while they're outside trying to go into the car. Shouldn't have to fight with people coming to park in my house when I'm in my driveway and you're parked in my driveway, let alone with the commercial vehicle that stays there till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. It's kind of out of control. And I'm talking to you as the owner. You should step up and you should take care of your responsibilities. You should have your people coming outside, cleaning up the street after the mess that your bar is causing. We've had small businesses in the area. I have a small business in the area, and I don't deal with this. I don't deal with the ruckus, and I don't disturb my neighbors at all. I shouldn't have to worry about my kids' safety because your patrons are irresponsible. And the irresponsibility is not only the lack of supervision from your establishment, it's the lack of responsibility from you as an owner. You come in, you make a lot of money, you should be able to take care of your establishment and the neighbor around you. Because without us, there is no you. Thank you.
Yes, Bob.
Yeah, I'm hearing that you're not getting a response from the 4-5 precinct, and I just want to let you know, I'm president of the 45th Precinct Community Council. Please come up to the precinct on June 1st, 7:30, and join us at the Precinct Community Council. You'll have an opportunity in a public forum again to address the commanding officer at the 45th Precinct, so that your voice will be heard.
Thank you.
So again, June 1st, 7:30 at the precinct. Thank you.
Let me just say something on behalf of the board. I understand we hear you speaking of complaints and bad behavior and incidents. A lot of times with the bars, as we've been trying to reach out, we've been trying to foster these relationships. But this is the first time that we're getting and hearing these complaints. I've always stressed, if you make the complaint, whether NYPD responds or not. If it's a 311 complaint, you call, excuse me, you call our office. Because when it's time for us to review a bar, if you come to us at the 11th hour, there's no time for us to look into the issues that you speak of. There's no time for us to be in touch. We're trying to have a better relationship with the precinct. We're trying to have a better relationship with all of the enforcement authorities. But if we don't know this until the last minute, right before we have to vote, how can we help you? How can we verify and stand up with your information? How can we even go back to that bar owner and say, this is going on, what are we gonna do? We can't do that engagement if we're not informed and if we don't know. We do try, and we're gonna continue trying. But again, it's your community, it's you having that problem, but you gotta let us know so that we can do what we can do. So I just have to say that on behalf of the board.
Excuse me, Martin, can I just add, I believe there have been 311 complaints about noise in particular.
And have those complaints come into the office.
Yes, okay, but maybe they don't know that, now they know it, but there have been complaints.
Okay, well, this is the thing. When we do our review, we look at that. We request that information. If we're not aware of it, and we only can get the information that's supplied to us from the precinct, and we push to get that information in timely basis. So we do need that help on the other side. You have to help us to help you. Peter.
I'll just address this real quick. I don't want to get into it right now, but I live on Mayflower Avenue between Waterbury and Tremont. At the meeting, it came up about the parking, complete parking across bus stops, the van on the sidewalk while they're doing deliveries. Everything that's being brought up tonight was brought up at that meeting. Trust me. I shouldn't say everything. The oral sex and the pot smoking, we've smelt it before as we walked by, but the oral sex, and it's not just that place, there's a couple other places along Tremont Avenue, we've had this problem. So we did bring it up to them. So, you know, it's a new owner. I'm not saying that, you know, it's changing anything, but we did bring it up just to let you know. And even though we don't have 100% of verification, I am testifying about the parking and about the van and everything, and I'm the chair of that committee. And I brought it up to them, and I said, we gotta change this. So, you know, I'm not saying anyone should vote any which way. You guys have the right to speak, and this is why, you know, we are now asking any bar coming in front of us to go around with a petition and get the residents to sign off on it, that they know about it. All right, that's the new way we're going with things. And along with Martin and some other people, our committee has said we're gonna start stipulations for these cafes. Not so much the enclosed, but the unenclosed, about operating hours and everything else. So, we are working on it. We asked for certain things. I can't guarantee you're gonna get it. We all lived through Nikki's. We did beer garden thing, and then they tried to have some sort of big fiasco, and the cops shut it down. But everyone from that neighborhood knows what we're going through, and it's not one place. There's a lot of places that are disrespecting their residents, and we do need to change. So we're working on it. We're going to change things up in the board to try and make things easier and streamline it. And we are going to reach out to the community. It's a lot better going forward.
Thank you, Peter. The next speaker, John Doyle.
Thank you, and good evening, everybody. I'm here tonight to speak on the matter of Don Coquille that will be coming before you. I could go on about this for a very long period of time, but I know he's going to time me at 3 minutes, and I don't want to waste anyone's time here. Back in March, 24 members of the community came to the board, came to the Economic Development Committee, and asked for 3 simple restrictions. No more outside use, a return to a 1 a.m. closing time, and a traffic plan to deal with congestion at the beginning of the hour. We presented factual information, videos, a whole PowerPoint, and those suggestions were not taken into consideration, even though we had the full support of the City Island Civic Association. Nothing about us without us is for us. Our view should have been taken into consideration. And I just have to say, I know we live in a time where there's a lot going on right now, and people like to question other people's motives, and I don't want to do that. But I was so concerned with the activity I saw in that meeting, I filed a complaint that day with the Borough President's Office. I've been coming to meetings now for 10 years. I've never done that before. And I'm waiting to hear back on that. I would just say, people are going to assign motives to me too, and that's fine. This has been going on for 2 years. I've been involved throughout those 2 years. And let me share something else with you, and this is not a threat. No matter what, after this year, I will be back when this is up for renewal. Thank you very much.
Okay, the next speaker, I think most appropriately, Mr. Alonso. I'd like you to come up. You heard what the community has to say, and there's a chance for you to speak directly back to them. So.
Hi, my name is Fabricio Alonso.
You have other residents here that want to speak for the record. If you want to...
Excuse me. Excuse me.
I'm here right now, the manager of Made in Puerto Rico. I'm currently in the process of owning it. I'm here to listen to all your concerns. Some of these things are new to me. Some things I wasn't aware of. But I'm here. I want to make it a better place and be part of the community. I live in the community myself. And right now, you know, we're here for Sidewalk Cafe. Anything else, I am open ears, I am listening, and willing to make changes. Thank you.
Hold on, Martin.
Yes, Irene.
We asked you specifically if you transferred title and closed and purchased that barn, and you specifically loudly and clearly said yes.
So now you're saying you're in the process of...
Thank you for your time.
Right, I'm still.
Well, that's
No, that's not
what you told us.
Next speaker, David Turan.
Good evening. My name is David Turan, and I'm a resident in 2925 Haskins Street. And I heard everything that my friends in the community in my block are saying. And let me tell you something, not exaggerating. I have 2 daughters, and it's incredible what I have to do for them not to see what's going on in that block. The quality of life has really gone down in the whole block. We have no parking. We have people coming out drunk out of the place, running down the street. It's putting a danger not only in older people and younger people. The quality of life is being attended in this particular block and this community. People in the neighborhood, a lot of them are considering selling. That's not good. That's not good for all of us. We've been there for a long time. I've been there for about 10 years. I've never seen this happening before. Public urination at any time of the day. My daughters are right there. I have to walk the other way. I don't know. I don't know if you guys knew about it. I don't know what's going on, but something has got to be done. Something has got to be done because it's going to get only worse if this passes. This outdoor cafe can't happen. Okay, so thank you, sir, for your time.
Next speaker, Hannah Akampora.
There's a resolution that's going to come before the board. I'm speaking to you as a resident of St. Peters Avenue. And there's a resolution that's going to come before you regarding the reversal of Frisbee Avenue, 2 blocks off of Tremont Avenue. First off, this was not on the agenda. Had I known, I would have been better prepared at the Municipal Services Committee meeting this Wednesday. I did do a drive-through last night, just for my own confirmation. This plan is the same plan we turned down in January. The only difference is that they removed the St. Raymond's Avenue portion because the merchants that were directly affected were against it. What remains is the reversal of 2 blocks of Frisbee Avenue for traffic to only enter from East Tremont Avenue and exit through the residential streets. The current issues on Frisbee Avenue is a result of the median installed on East Tremont Avenue in front of Frisbee Avenue and the elimination of a left turn on Frisbee Avenue. Again, at that time, we approved this. I was told that my concerns were not an issue, but we were here today because that plan isn't working. Frisbee Avenue is 4 blocks long. It goes from East Tremont Avenue to Zerega Avenue. At one time, all of Frisbee Avenue was a 2-way street, but years ago, they changed 1 block to allow cars to exit onto East Tremont Avenue and not enter from East Tremont Avenue, which makes a lot of sense because Frisbee Avenue cannot accommodate the volume of through traffic. Doing so would cause a very dangerous situation. There are approximately 75 parking spots within the 2 blocks of Frisbee Avenue, and that doesn't include vehicles coming in and out throughout the day. So there's a large volume of traffic. I understand there's 2 lots that a doctor owns, who's not just a regular doctor office, he does outpatient surgery. So he brings in, a number of vehicles. This proposal is not a solution. It's just a shift from one street to the residential streets and very dangerous to allow through traffic along Frisbee Avenue. This change affects the entire community and they were not made aware of this. To rush this through makes me nervous as I really believe this is a big mistake. If this plan gets approved, a volume of traffic will be turning onto Overing Street and cause the same traffic issues currently occurring on Frisbee Avenue, only worse. It already handles quite a volume of vehicles and truck traffic from Westchester Avenue. And God forbid Frisbee Avenue sees an increased volume of traffic on that street that can't be handled. I'm asking you to please turn this proposal down again. This issue will take years to reverse as this is being done in a rush. And I believe this will cause a domino effect for the entire residential community, and it won't stop here. If Frisbee Avenue is causing a dangerous situation, it is the duty of the proper agencies to make the situation correct and remove the median on East Tremont Avenue and Frisbee Avenue and go back to the way it was, left and right turns on East Tremont Avenue from Frisbee Avenue. Please don't pass this problem onto the residential streets. As Jane says, you can't come in and stomp on the neighborhood.
Our next speaker, John Serini.
Thank you. Thank you for letting me talk. So, for those of you who don't know me, my name is John Serini. We started the Merchant Association in 2005. I was the first president. And so I'm here tonight, and I'm hearing a lot of concerns about the Made in Puerto Rico and Tosca and other liquor establishments. And the original reason we started the Merchant Association was to create a unity between the merchants and the residents. I live in the neighborhood. Our current president, Bobby, lives in the neighborhood. We all live in the neighborhood. So we want that unity. And that's not what I'm hearing tonight. So before tonight, I knew that there was going to be a proposition about Tosca. And so we reached out to Tosca, and we did speak to Tosca, and Tosca has agreed to have all their the bartenders go for ATAP training. They agreed to have an audit for sound noise, levels, so that the DEP can tell us what to do. And Tosca has agreed. Melissa has been with Tosca for many, many years, and I can tell you that from the dealings that we've had with Tosca, they've always been good. I'm here tonight as an advocate for Tosca because, let me tell you, it is a tough thing to be a business owner anywhere. But we open up a business and, we have employees to feed. We have insurance payments, rent payments, real estate tax. And we can't be accountable for every single action that happens once it goes outside the door. And I know you think we should be. And I'm sorry that sometimes things spill outside, but when a business owner operates their business, we can't take people home and tuck them in bed and make sure that they're safe and sound. So while I understand the frustration that a lot of you have, we promise as a merchant association that we will work together with these establishments, and we will come back to you, and maybe at one of the future meetings, and if you guys signed in, we'll get your name and we'll reach out to you guys. But the way Tosca has agreed to do a lot of these things, I'm sure that Made in Puerto Rico will be willing to work with the community as well. But please, look at both sides of the spectrum, and we can fix things. Look, can things be fixed? Almost nothing is unfixable. We can fix things. But we need to work together as a community. We can't just come out with pitchforks and say, close down this store. These people have employees that have bills to pay and families. So we need to work as a community, right? I hope that we can leave here tonight and say, look, we didn't expect to come here and say that Made in Puerto Rico or Tosca was going to be closed down, or any of them are going to be closed down, because you know that wasn't going to happen. But the thing is that we can work on fixing our problems. And so, like GDO said, there's going to be new leadership, there's going to be a new vote. With everyone's cooperation, I think we can get things done. So I hope that we all are optimistic leaving here tonight to say we can get things done with the new regime. Thank you.
Martin, can I just say one thing? I don't know if John knows this, but it's taken, I would say, what would you say, approximately 15 years?
15 years for Tosca.
To get Tosca to where they are today. So, I don't know.
And I'd like to add to that, don't put Tosca and Made in Puerto Rico in the...
Should I give him the mic?
Excuse me, I'm speaking. I grew up in Throgs Neck. From Miles Avenue to Westchester Square, there had to be 30 bars. Hands down, never was there fights or things going outside of the bars. From what I've understood from Pompeii and Made in Puerto Rico, there is no comparison to what's going on. You are somewhat responsible for over-serving. And you're somewhat responsible for the clientele.
All right, well,
Somewhat. There have been bar fights, but not with these people in town.
Okay. Well, what I'm saying is that the complaints that we're hearing about Made in Puerto Rico, none of that came to the Merchant Association.
Okay.
So I'm glad that we're here tonight listening to this, and we will address these problems. Over the last couple of days, we've spoken with Tosca, and we're addressing them.
No, not you, John. Don't we have a liaison from the board to the merchants?
Yes, we do.
Yes, we do. We
So
do.
why hasn't he brought those?
What's that?
Why hasn't he brought these across though? These complaints?
We haven't been getting the complaints in the office.
That's what you said.
I mean, again, again.
As president of Merchants, let me just say one thing, okay? We have heard complaints.
Yes.
Okay, and when I came into office in January, along with Rosario, we made a promise with the existing executive board to make things better, okay? We had plans because I had just heard about Made in Puerto Rico about a week ago, and we were gonna make plans to sit down with either the old or new ownership, okay? When we had a problem with Havana Cafe with the sound, they put the barrier. Ruben, one of your members, is one of the owners. I don't totally agree with everything John just said, but I agree with the basis of it. We just can't close a place down because of what happens outside. If there was numerous amounts of fights inside and stabbings inside, like in Pompeii, a different story. Give us a chance to fix it. You gave us the opportunity with Tosca, and you saw the lady that was always here every month.
Jane has been here for 15 years.
Okay, because this is getting out of hand. Again, what can I say? The board, the community board, is a liaison to city agencies. That includes law enforcement, code violations, etc. When you're having problems, you let us know. Let us help you work on it. That's what we have a staff there for. We have a very good staff for those that have had contact with them. And that's the only way that the committees are gonna know about what's going on and where that work can get done in committee. It's not good for us to come to our monthly meeting and have these interactions when you can come to the committee meetings. We post the agendas on our website. We try to get outreach as much as possible. We are here. We cannot do for you if you do not come to us. That is all I will say. Again, I'm disturbed by everything that I'm hearing. But again, I'm just hearing this. So we do have work to do. We do have work to do, and we have the major players of the community, along with the residents. So let's make this the day that we go to look forward and try to work a little bit harder together, okay? One last one.
Thank you. I just want to say to the residents, I heard that you said you spoke to them directly. I heard it loud, and I do not appreciate their reaction to your comments to them. We are not their parents. The fact that you tried to talk to them directly, I heard it loud and clear. Thank you for coming tonight.
All right, next speaker is Leslie Brown of the Public Library.
I know, kind of down a little bit. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. My name is Leslie Brown. I'm the manager at the Baychester Library.
I'm Lita Torres. I'm the manager at the Throgsneck Library.
So welcome. I just have two things. Actually, we just have an ask, and I know every year you say we're asking and we're asking and we're asking, but what is happening with these asks is we're actually doing things for the community, doing things for the kids, having more programs and things. So the ask is good. So this year, our ask is for capital funding. In other words, we want to help our buildings. We want to make sure the buildings are looking nice. We want to make sure when the kids come in, they have a nice play to play. With story time, they have a nice rug to sit on and things of that nature. So our building, we're asking for that. And the second thing is, how many here would like to have a branch open in their councilman district on Sunday? I mean, I know we do things on Sunday, but some people, that's the only that they get, and they would like a branch open, right? Okay, so that's what we're asking, a 7-day branch in each councilman's district. And our district, so our district is King's District in Baychester. So guess what? It could be Baychester Library, it could be Edenwald Library, it could be Eastchester, and same thing for her branch. So that's the two things, major things that we're asking for in FY17. So we're asking for the capital funding, extra funding, and we're asking for a 7-day service in each councilman district. Thank you.
So go to your local library and sign a letter and support us.
Thank you, ladies. We do have one more speaker, but before we bring that speaker up, just like to make an announcement here. On Tuesday, June 13th, there will be a public hearing, combined public hearing at Fort Schuyler House. The agenda will be, in Health and Human Services, a proposed group home at the address 2717 Gifford Avenue by the group Unique People Services. In addition, we will be having a ULURP hearing with the Housing and Zoning Committee regarding the Hutchinson River Parkway, the bridge over Westchester Avenue. That will be Tuesday, June 13th, again, 7 p.m. at Fort Schuyler House. We will be doing outreach to the community on those issues. I do have to ask something of the members. I have wanted to do it before tonight, but I would like to prepare a letter to the borough president commending Mr. Tom Lucania for the excellent service that he's given us over this course of this last year. So I will spend the next month preparing the letter and have it ready to read to you on June, at the meeting in June. But no, Tom has been very good to us. He's helped us. We're now going to be moving in with the new district manager. And again, he's been all over the Bronx, but he's given us quality service along with the other boards. And I think it's very important that as a board, we extol his virtue. So once again, thank you for all your assistance, Tom. Okay, final speaker, we have a guest, Ms. Mariel Dela Cruz of the New York City Controller's Office.
Well, there you go, you have the timing, huh?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you. I was waiting for it. I was excited. It took me 2 hours to get here, so I had to simmer. Thank you. And I drove, and it took me 2 hours to get here. My name is Mariel de la Cruz. I work with the New York City Controller's Office. I was just named the new Bronx Borough Director, so hopefully I can make it. Thank you. I like people clap. Good energy, my friend. So, hopefully I can make it as often as possible, and as soon as we are fully staffed, it should be a lot better. We'll wait for that, so we'll see how long that takes. So I'm gonna just present one report to you. I have a quick announcement. So we released a report in March, but we haven't been around as much, so I thought it would be important for this community. From 2005 to 2015, the number of New Yorkers over 65 surged by 19%. So 1.1 million adults over 65 call New York home. The comptroller is proposing that eligible seniors, and for this area not so much, but eligible seniors would be enrolled in SCREE automatically. Lots of times, as folks know, people don't know what SCREE is or that they're eligible, and that there's been changes that make a lot more people eligible. The senior citizens, wait a minute, rent increase exemption, I have to look at the letters. And basically what that is that it freezes the senior's rent where it is, and then the increases get paid by the government, right? But basically that they stay where they're at. There's a lot of issues with the program, but it is beneficial once you do qualify. He is also proposing an expansion of the senior citizens homeowners exemption. So currently homeowners must be over 65 with an income of $37,000 or below to be eligible for this tax credit. So we want to raise the threshold to $50,000, which makes a lot more people eligible. We believe that the city should create programs so seniors can upgrade their homes to make it more accessible and consider enhancing requirements for landlords to make upgrades. And some of these adjustments include, it's not only housing, but more benches at bus stops, flexible work schedules for caretakers, which is really important in lots of our communities where we take care of our parents and our grandparents and our aunts and uncles. And more senior centers in communities that have a lot of seniors. So currently a lot of senior centers are not in places where there's a lot of seniors, which is problematic for service purposes and also for people that actually need those services in those areas. And then I have a few reports here if folks want them, and I also have a sheet that has all the information in general. And lastly, if there's anyone, and I'll try to stay till the end of the meeting, if anyone lives in Co-op City, the comptroller is doing an event in Co-op City, and I want to make sure that I get people's emails so that I can contact them and recontact them to make sure that they attend, and also to make sure that I have a good idea of what the issues are in Co-op City so that the comptroller is prepared to talk to folks, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you. I left my cards in the office, so I will be here and I can give people my contact information. Thank you very much.
Question.
I will, sure.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
You're going to work with trying to get street, registrations. What about DREE? Can you do anything with DREE?
Well, currently that is something, how about this? That is something that I could talk to our office about. So what we do as a unit, I'm part of the Community Affairs unit, we sit as all 5 boroughs and discuss what the issues are, right? So if there's a report that we think is missing something, we talk to the policy team about adding that to a future report or looking a little deeper into that. Because the issue with this report, it was really good, but as soon as I presented it in most places, they were like, well, how about Access-A-Ride? How about this and how about that? So there's a lot of how abouts, but I think that that's also important to discuss and say, hey, what are we doing for folks that have disability issues and might be seniors or not? So there is a report that we also did regarding the MTA and the escalator and the elevators that are usually not working. And I have information about that report as well. Okay?
Also, can you find out, because last year we were informed that the screen had gone up to 50,000.
Yeah. So it did, the screen did, right? So what we're asking for, the screen part, and I'm sorry I speak very quickly, so you have to, tell me to slow down, and I'm hot now, all of a sudden, so that's why. I started sweating, so that's why I want to get some water. Personal issue I have, yes. Yes. So for screen Street, it's already at 50,000, but what we're saying is that people should be automatically enrolled. Right, for the senior citizens homeowners exemption, that's not at 50,000. So we're asking for them to raise it just like street. Yeah? Okay. Anyone else? Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Thank you and welcome. I will say that the Controller's Office did put in a request to the Co-op City contingent to come to that, to the session that the Controller will be having in Co-op. We will make sure to send it out to you guys. Okay, this time, that was the last speaker. Motion to close the public participation session. You got that? Okay. All right. Next is like a motion to accept the minutes of Community Board number 10 meeting of April 20th, 2017.
Motion to accept.
Second.
All in favor? Okay, next up is the Borough President's report.
Thank you, Martin. First of all, I want to thank all of those who attended the Borough President's Community Board Appreciation event last week. We had over 220, 225 board members from throughout the borough. And one of the more important things that we wanted to happen at that event was that we wanted board members from all over the borough to kind of get to know each other. You know, board members from Board 8 and board members from Board 1 talk to each other, Board 10 should talk to Board 2, so that you kind of get a sense of what goes on in other boards, the common practices that go on in the other districts at board meetings that may be helpful to you. So I hope for those that were there, you were able to at least network with some of your colleagues from other parts of the borough. Many people did indicate that it was a very good event and they'd want to see another one, so we'll work next year on maybe something similar. But it was a good effort on the part of the members of my staff, both Barati, who you met last month and you baptized her last month. She came back a little flustered. And then Andy Toledo, who also comes to your meeting. So the three of us appreciate your work and you being there that evening. This is Bronx Week. There are events going on throughout the borough. We're coming up to the last events. Tomorrow is Health Day, and there are events throughout the borough regarding health. I did leave some Bronx Week flyers in the back. There's also a stickball game that the elected officials will be having in Joyce Kilmer Park with City and State Magazine tomorrow afternoon. Saturday is the ball at Split Rock Pelham Bay Golf Course, and on Sunday is the parade along Marshallou Parkway. The Hall of Fame inductees will be given their signs along the Grand Concourse, and just so you know, the four honorees this year are Dr. Manny Villafane, who is a Cardinal Hayes graduate and worked on a number of patents regarding pacemakers and other devices regarding your heart. So he is one of them. Salinas Levia, who is from Orange's The New Black. She will be there. Funk Master Flex, whoever that may be. He will be there as well. And then finally, Prince Royce. Prince Royce is also supposedly very popular amongst the younger set, I guess, and we actually expect people to be sleeping at the courthouse the night before to see him. But that is what's happening in Bronx Week. And then just lastly, one of the most important things that the borough president has dealt with since he came into office is unemployment. And March's unemployment numbers are at an all-time low for the borough, and that is at 5.7%. 8 years ago, when the borough president came into office, it was at 14.1%. So a lot has been done. A lot of the development that's happened, you know, even in your own backyards, as well as a cooperation with the governor's office and the New York State Department of Labor, where there's actually some labor folks sitting in BOEDC's offices and working directly with people and matching them with available jobs. So if you do have anybody who's interested, let me know and I'll put you in contact with them. Thank you all very much.
Tom. First, I'd like to extend our thanks to the U of T for providing us meeting space here tonight. Just remind them the next time Ms. Locke needs a little extra air, but we do thank them. It's a nice space. In the audience tonight, we have from Senator Klein's office, Dan Hogel. Dan? From Assemblyman Benedetto's office is Leon Tolton. From Assemblyman Jonai's office, Liliana Pekic. Well, we met Ms. De La Cruz. Also from Bronx Works, Ms. Gianna De Olio. Would you mind just do a brief one? Yeah. And the weather's heating up now.
Yes. Hello. Hi, good evening. My name is Gianna Delolio. I work for Bronx Works. We are a social services agency and settlement house. I am Director of Advancement and Communications, but I'm here tonight on behalf of the agency. What I do want to stress to everyone is one of the many things that Bronx Works does is we are responsible for the street homeless population of the Bronx. That is part of our arrangement with New York City. So if you see someone who you think needs help, I cannot urge you, I cannot underscore the importance of you dialing 311 and requesting that someone comes out to help that person. When you dial 311, if that person is located in the Bronx, the Bronx Works Homeless Outreach Team will be dispatched. If you see someone on the subway, the agency that covers the subway, etc., no matter what borough you're in. So it's very important to call 311 and to log your calls. I'm also a homeowner. I call 311 all the time. It does work. So please, if you see someone who needs help, if any of the business owners have a particular issue, I have my cards. I can put you in contact with our homeless outreach team program director. The summertime is coming. When it's cold, we have a code blue alert to get people inside. But when it's hot, those who are most vulnerable are at even more risk. So please, if you see someone, please call 311, and thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay, next is the committee reports. At the executive committee, there is a resolution, a floor resolution to be put forward. And it is at the request of the incumbent second vice chair of Bronx Community Board number 10 that the recently devised attendance requirements take effect for the 2018 nominations and election process. These attendance requirements shall not preclude any board member from participating in the 2017 nominations and election process, and that this be forwarded to the full board for approval. Any on the question?
First, you gotta get a motion.
No. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Motion made by Tom. Second by Mr. Barbarelli. On the question?
This motion will just allow anyone on the board to run this time around for the June election. As of now, if we apply these new attendance requirements to this year, up to 25 people from the board, about 2/3 of the board will be eliminated.